Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about our personal beliefs. It's actually an exercise that we're going to do together. It's a 10-question exercise. It's just an exercise that helps you identify your beliefs and judgment that you could hold about yourself. So it's kind of a explore self-appraisal. You know, you look at how you really feel about yourself and acknowledge the things about yourself. You know, we're always looking for feedback from people, like how am I with this, how am I with that, how do you take criticism, how do you take judgment, how do you take compliments. You know, people really don't know how to take compliments. Let me not say people. Not that I never knew how to take compliments, but I was shy about it. I felt like, oh my gosh, you see me, you notice me. That's what I mean by people can't take compliments. It's not that they aren't aware about it. It's just when you in yourself, it's hard to acknowledge things about yourself, whether you think you're beautiful, smart, or whatever. And so this 10-question exercise is going to help us kind of look within ourselves, look about what we're proud of about ourselves, just kind of do self-introspection. I mean, this is a self-love exercise. You digging deep within yourself, you recognizing your self-beliefs or your self-judgment, and you're kind of looking at it in a way that you can see, maybe I should do this differently. I'll give you an example. When I was done with this exercise, I could sit down and look at myself and say, okay, this is what I saw and thought about myself, but now that I'm aware of these things that have been formed by pattern, now when it happens, I'm able to take a step back and change those patterns. I mean, I feel like self-love exercises is something that you do all the time, because the thing with self-love, and I was trying to run away from self-love and jump into the next aspect of what I wanted to talk about, you know, like spiritually. But I feel like with self-love, I want to take a little bit more time. I feel like the way the universe is working too, I feel like self-love is something that needs all our attention. Weird when we make so much time for others, but we don't have time for ourselves. And I think that's what I admire a lot about introverts and people that isolate, is that they do give themselves that attention that other people may not be giving them, or they give themselves that attention that other people are giving to other people rather than giving to themselves. So if you can have that balance of still checking in within yourself, still making sure that you're good, because it's hard to say, hey, I want to be in a relationship, but you don't even know yourself. Then it's hard to bring the best version of yourself in that relationship, and then you bring in the toxic part of yourself. A lot of people are in toxic relationships, unhealed people, but that's a conversation for another day. But the goal is to do a lot of self-introspection, self-love exercises, self-compassion. It's all about self. And when you focus on self, then you become your best version. And then when you do decide to partner or do whatever you want in life, you bring that best version of yourself. So yes, let's get the 10 questions. So I wrote down the questions. Question number 1. So these 10 questions, how I did it is, I pretty much answered all the questions, right? And then when I was done writing the questions, let's see, for example, what is your favorite thing about yourself? My favorite thing about myself is definitely how I love. And it's definitely my brain process. It's my favorite thing about myself used to be the thing I hated most about myself, when I didn't understand myself. But I've done the work, and I can say my favorite thing about myself, if I was not where I'm at, would have been very different to where I'm at. Now I can say it's my thought process, my brain, and how I love. The things that used to make me feel weak have empowered me. So this exercise for where I'm at right now still adds value, but I'll say that now where I'm at, it's definitely going to be my favorite thing about myself is my thought process, in the sense that how I love, how I see the world, and how I explore. It's just, I guess it's my heart, is how I love. So I will say my favorite thing about myself is how I love and how I see the world. What are my most achievable goals in life? With this, I wrote my short-term goals, like what I wanted to achieve within the next 3 months. So write something that is doable. If you have a business idea and you want to move forward with that business idea in a 3 months time to 6 months time, I would suggest doing something like, okay, something affordable, like maybe getting an LLC, creating a business plan, but set a short-term goal that you know you can do, so you're not so hard on yourself and you don't feel bad if you don't get it done. Do something really small, and when you achieve that goal, you go with bigger goals, bigger goals, bigger goals, but start with something small and doable, I suggest. Okay, how do you handle criticism? Oh my god, this is important, because I feel like if you don't know how to accept negative feedback, you can take that personally, because not all criticism is a personal attack on you. So for me, I always like room for improvement. I'm always into evolving, so I do take the information, but whether I'm going to process the information in or not, that's a whole different question. I'm going to listen to what you're going to say. If there's something that I feel like I can change, I will. And if it's coming from a place of love, I'm going to listen and accept it. But I know a lot of the time we have our walls up. We can't really accept negative feedback. But I'll suggest just receive it and see if there's something within yourself that you feel that needs to change with that feedback. So everybody's criticism will be different, but make sure when you're writing how you handle your criticism, write authentically how you do handle your criticism currently, and then go back and look at how you can change that and do it in a loving way. Like, as I said, for me, if somebody tells me something, I'm open to it, especially if it's coming from a place of love. I'm sure in our working environment, we've always been bullied or always feeling like people are attacking us. In that environment, I would suggest receive it, but whether you want to process it or not and put it into your system, that's up to you. But I always say just receive it, take it, acknowledge it, and keep it moving. But do not sit too much on negative feedback, because I feel like that's what messes up with our aura and messes up with our energy. Okay, next, what past accomplishments are you proud of? Everybody's accomplished something by now. I mean, if you're alive, there's quite a few past accomplishments. Okay, how do you feel when you make a mistake, and what do you do? I think this also has something to do with the exercise that I posted about self-compassion journal. And how do you feel when you make a mistake, and what do you do? I know for me, until today, how I felt back then, I still feel the same way. I have this very, very soft, sensitive side that when I do something, I feel like I can feel the next person. Mistakes for me because I'm so nitpicky, I used to be like, oh my god, I wanted everything to be perfect because I was a control freak. But the control came from me wanting to not let the universe go with the flow. When you allow the universe to go with the flow, you accept mistakes, you know? And when you make a mistake, it's understanding. As long as, I feel like for me, as long as I'm not hurting somebody's feelings, I'm open to making mistakes and, you know, learning from them. But I used to have a hard time accepting mistakes because I wanted everything to be perfect and I wanted to be control of everything. So I would definitely say I was a perfectionist, or I thought I was a perfectionist, or I tried to be a perfectionist. When I made a mistake, I felt undervalued. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing, and I felt like I didn't know enough. So that really messed up my I won't say self-esteem, but it really messed up with my brain, where I always had to go and fix it till I get it right. Definitely say now where I'm at, I don't take things too personal. As I said, I let the universe go with the flow. So make sure you answer that question authentically and think of the ways. As I said, always go back to how can you do this in the most self-loving way. Have that self-love for yourself that you have for others. Okay, next question was, how do you feel when someone compliments you? Oh my god, how do you feel? Before, I used to feel nervous. I used to feel like they could see me. Like, oh my gosh, you noticed me. Why are you looking at me? Don't look at me too long. I'm kidding. But yeah, I used to feel like, don't look at me. Please don't look at me. Now I receive it. I'm like, you know, so make sure you answer that authentically. Are you smiling when somebody compliments you? Are you giving them that up and down look? Or are you just ignoring? Make sure you notice how you feel. I feel like this part is very important, because how you feel when someone compliments you should be good. But I know a lot of us don't feel good if you're not in a good space within yourself. So it'll be hard to get that compliment completely if you don't see that beauty. You feel me? Okay, next question. What do you feel really good at? Write what you feel good at, and not what people say you're good at. I feel like I'm good at cooking. No. I've been told I'm good at cooking, but I feel like I'm good at drawing. But I stopped sketching. Okay, I stopped sketching. You know what? I never really got into the sketching as much as I used to. But when people told me that I wasn't good at sketching in primary school, I threw away the pen. But then after when I got into college, I started sketching again, whatever, and then I stopped. But one thing that I will say is I feel like I'm good at drawing, but I haven't given myself the attention, or haven't given drawing the attention it should have. So make sure you're writing what you feel good at, and not what other people are saying you're good at. Because that's a mistake I did when I did that question. If you could do anything with your life right now, what would it be? Oh my god! Yes, I don't travel. And my goal is to make myself not just financially free, but also be completely free from 9-to-5s, office jobs, those kind of stuff, so I could completely be authentic and do what I want to do with my life right now. So write what it is you like, and what would it be? Okay, next question is, what makes you feel good about yourself? Oh my god, what makes you feel good? What makes you feel good about yourself? I love bubble baths. I love bubble baths with some music and candles. I like affirmations. I like quality time. I love quality time. Definitely quality time alone. Okay, so the last question is, when do you feel most comfortable being yourself? Oh my god, when do you feel most comfortable being yourself? So that question is going to help you identify where you need to be all the time, because you don't want to be around anybody or in an environment that you can completely not be yourself. But I guess that's why we have our walls up, because we're not always going to be able to show everybody a part of ourselves that's safe. Once you've answered all those questions authentically, what I love about myself, this is what makes me feel good, this is how I take compliments, this is how I can change, and this is what I like to do, blah blah blah. So the second step you're going to do after answering it, you're going to debrief your answers or your responses. And once you've recognized your self-appraisals, then you can go and replace them with a little bit more loving or more self-love answers. But write it authentically, and then imagine yourself just writing it as the most loving thing you'd like to be within yourself. You know, in the sense that, what is your favorite thing about yourself? Maybe you thought your favorite thing about yourself was dancing. You'll find out it might be cooking. You'll find out it might even be reading. You know, the more you explore, the more you'll find out that maybe you like things that other people told you were good at, but the stuff that you're not the best, you don't like it because you're not getting that validation from it. You get what I'm trying to say? It kind of, well, I don't know, I'm deep like that, you know, and I feel like we all are, but we just don't recognize those deep aspects of ourselves, or maybe we don't recognize how those actions or those feedbacks have a reaction within us, that we can actually fall for things that are being validated by people, and the things that we enjoy, we kind of push it in the back because it's not the best, but it actually makes you feel good when you do it. You know, we always think things are black and white, there's no gray area, but I feel like in life there's no black and white. Everything is gray. How I experience something might be totally different to how somebody else is going to experience. Everybody's experience is different, so it's best we always do our self check-in and making sure that whatever we're doing is authentically the best versions of ourselves, and we're making sure that we are expressing that best version, or we are sharing that best version of ourselves, because there's nothing worse than being somebody you're not and pretending to be somebody you're not because you cannot keep up. How long are you going to pretend to be something you're not? I mean, I feel like that's what I was doing. I won't say I was pretending to be something I'm not. I was trying to fit in, you know, like I was trying to not be too deep, not be too weird. But now I'm in a place whereby you have to meet me where I'm at, and this is who I am, and this is what you see. Okay, with that being said, so once you've noticed your behaviors, your beliefs, your judgments, your patterns, I feel like you can, as I said, you can switch it up, do it a little bit more self-love. There's always room for improvement. What's better than getting to know yourself, getting to know your beliefs, getting to know your judgment? We always reading philosophies and books and histories about other people, other times. We forget about ourselves. You know, we spend time with people. Do we spend time with ourselves? Do we check in at ourselves? People need to understand we have a whole multi-universe going in inside of us. Whether we acknowledge it or not, it's still happening. We can ignore it, but it is still controlling us. And take time out. Take time out, because when you're moving, and I'm talking from experience, I used to be like that. I used to just continue moving. Yes, I used to isolate, but I never used to like completely check in. I used to do self-help and completely, but to completely stop and go through these questions, making sure that I am trying to be the best version of myself, and making sure that not just be the best version for myself individually, internally, but also for the ones that have to experience me. I don't want to experience half-ass anybody. Why should anybody half-ass experience me? If I'm going to bring my best, I expect to receive the best. If I'm going to bring half of me, I shouldn't expect to receive the best. And this is what it's all about. It's just becoming the best versions of ourselves. It's also having some self-introspection within ourselves, having accountability, making sure we're having compassion and kindness for ourselves. We always forget about ourselves. Make sure you're checking in on yourself, reading a book, doing something nice, and loving yourself and loving your neighbors. With that being said, thank you guys for tuning into my channel. You guys subscribe, like, and share, and all that good stuff, and we'll catch up next week.